Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, Jake of OneManBand is back again, and this is our first RWBY feedback video. So basically I'm going to be reading off the comments that you guys left in the comment section, obviously, of my RWBY episodic reviews. And so we're going to get started with episode 1. And I know that some of you, commented on like the same thing, so I'm going to try to keep these brief and try not to repeat myself too much. To all of you who don't know, I'm basically going to be reading off the comment. You guys had your own comments and you listed off things that I missed, so I'm going to read those and then give feedback to you guys about how I feel about it and how it's going to affect the coming episodes. Alright, for the episode 1 review, some of you guys left a comment about Mercury and Emerald's weapons. And I know I didn't cover those in the first episode, but I wanted to hold that off until we actually saw them in action. Yes, I do know that Mercury is a kick-based fighter. He's got weapons on his legs and on his feet, and he's going to mostly be doing a lot of kicking. And I know Emerald's weapon are dual shotgun sword / scythe things. So I'm going to go more into detail about those weapons when they're kind of shown off a little and we see them actually in action. Next, some of you guys suggested that maybe the book, The Third Crusade, which Mercury and Emerald were looking for at the bookshop, possibly was maybe a banned book or was a book specifically on the Faunus War. Either way, it would tie directly to the White Fang. The White Fang probably take the Faunus War in high regards, due to maybe the atrocities that were done during the war, and if it was banned, possibly by humans or maybe actual Faunus, it could be some form of Faunus manifesto where it's like, oh, we must take over the world, kind of like Mein Kampf that Hitler wrote. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out. I mean, if the Third Crusade, the book, the whole idea of that thing comes into play later on in the series, we'll definitely have to investigate more. But with the way that the series seems to be going right now, that whole Third Crusade book may have just been a plug to really get to the shop owner. Because, as soon as he heard it, he kind of started to freak out. The thought of Cinder being Roman's older sister. I don't really think that's the case. I mean, they don't really look like each other. I mean, they got different hair colors, and I know that that doesn't really mean anything. But if they were brother and sister, I would believe that they would have better chemistry with each other. They would be easier, they would get along better. Torchwick, he's afraid of Cinder. He doesn't trust her. If they were brother and sister, there would be at least some form of sibling trust going on. Now, as we've seen from episode 3 coming out, we do know that the Freckles Fang mech that the White Fang is going to be using is actually a paladin mech suit designed to be worn by a human driver. So now, who exactly is going to be the driver for the Freckles Fang mech? It could be just some random White Fang whatchamafoots, or it could be someone more prevalent and more, plot related. Now, using the vast amounts of dust that Roman Torchwick has stolen over the past few months to power it, I can't really see them using that much dust to power one machine. I mean, they may have multiple machines and we just haven't seen them yet, but they may be holding on to all that dust, so maybe the armed forces that are now in Vale have a limited supply while the White Fang has a lot. We still don't know exactly why the White Fang and Roman Torchwick has stolen all this dust, besides the simple fact just to have it. And now going to the whole food fight scenario, I know that I made a mistake when I said that Pyrrha was the one who, you know, flung the table of melons at Team RWBY. It was actually Nora. I'm sorry about that. In my mind, I said Nora. My mouth said Pyrrha. I apologize. And one of you suggested that maybe they use their auras to enhance the durability of their food stuff weapons. Now that makes a lot of sense because, you know, unbreakable baguettes and Ren was fighting with leaks and stuff like that. So if they're using their aura to affect the durability of the weapons, doesn't that mean that they could also use their aura on their actual weapons? Now, we already know that because it's stated that their tools are conduits of their aura as well as dust. So, aura, dust put together, what do you got? You got indestructible weapons. Alright, on to episode 2, and I'm just going to be throwing this out here right now. A lot of you guys said that it was probably Neptune who was the new guy who beat Yang at the board game. I now see that was a possibility. Probably was Neptune, maybe it was Jean. Either way, Yang lost. Now, if it was Neptune, that would suggest that Neptune is more of a strategist rather than a fighter. And we know that his weapon is some form of gun, so perhaps Neptune is the one who kind of stays back and gives logistic support to the rest of his team, you know, Sun, Sage, and Scarlet. While they're fighting, while he's providing range support and also tactical advice. And if it was Jean who actually beat Yang, then once again, whole strength thing, he's a strategist thing. And while speaking of Jean, one of you suggested that since I made the assumption that Ironwood is the Tin Man, one of you suggested that maybe the Cowardly Lion is one of Jean's ancestors. I don't agree with that at all, for a few reasons. One, Jean is not a Faunus, and I don't believe he has any Faunus blood in his family line. Two, he said that his great-grandfather fought in the war, and, you know, that his father and his father, you know, Jean's actual father and his grandfather and his great-grandfather, they were all heroes. Now, you know, sometimes the whole term of hero is lost in translation, but as we have heard, he comes from a long line of actual heroes. So, having the Cowardly Lion a part of his family really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If anything, the Cowardly Lion is maybe another headmaster of a school, or perhaps was or is now the leader of the White Fang. Now, some of you have suggested that the new violent leader of the new Fang is perhaps Adam. But it got me thinking, why would the leader of the whole White Fang movement just go on a simple raiding party with Blake in the black trailer? I mean, I don't know. You know, things happen for weird reasons. But as far as Adam being the head leader of the White Fang, I don't think he is. He seems a little young to be leading an entire revolution. And here's some thoughts concerning Ozpin. Some of you put down, oh, maybe he's actually the leader of the bad guys. And his eyes are silver, so maybe he's RWBY's actual dad. Now, here are my thoughts on some of those things. Him actually being the leader of the bad guys, it would be an amazing twist. That would be pretty awesome. But I don't think they would make Ozpin a bad guy. Just due to the fact that, you know, he's kind of standing for justice. He's standing for the hero. I mean, listen to his rebuttal to the opening sequence at the very beginning of the series. You know, when he talks about heroes and a more innocent soul and stuff like that. That doesn't really sound like the the words of a villain in my mind. As for Ozpin being RWBY's actual father, maybe, you know, there's always gonna be a maybe hovering above our heads about that thing. But she said that she does, her and Yang do have the same dad. And her mother, Summer Rose, I'm thinking that Summer Rose was partnered with Ozpin, you know, back in the day. And maybe Summer Rose had silver eyes, and it was due to the genetics going down that RWBY now has silver eyes. Ozpin sees that. He knows that she's Summer Rose's daughter. Man's conspiracy web going all over the place. But as for RWBY being Ozpin's actual daughter, once again, maybe it's hovering above our heads, but I personally won't put any money on it. Now, one of you actually stated that when they were playing the board game in episode 2, that when Yang's Air Force was attacked and borderline destroyed, she states, most of them were probably androids. Now, what does this mean? It means that they're actually not only robots, but androids that are robot-human hybrids in the military force. Once again, going back to the whole penny thing that's going on, and the new robot technologies that are coming out in the Paladin mech suit. So, androids do exist, and so do robots and stuff like that. So, Atlas uses mostly unmanned fighting units in the military, whereas the hunters and huntresses are, you know, human and faunus. They're still organic. But here's the real kicker with the whole unmanned army sort of deal. Robots, androids, stuff that uses electricity and computers, they can be hacked. And if you get control of the entire military, you don't really have that much left to fight them, except for the hunters and huntresses, and I'm just going off on a tangent that I should probably save until later, shouldn't I? Also, some of you guys stated that also during the card game, Yang's trap card was directing a Nevermore to attack RWBY. It was a trap card, stuff like that. Did I already say that? I think I did. Anyway, so you guys suggested that there is a way to control the Grim creatures, which is probably going to be used later on in the volume. Now, I'm not so sure about the whole controlling factor. I think that it's mostly direction. Sort of like you can kind of direct wild animals to the enemy. Think of it as, have you guys ever played Far Cry 3? You could direct a tiger to go into an enemy camp, and then the tiger would attack them. But as soon as you go into the camp, the tiger attacks you. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. And also, during the card game, the trap had a downside. If Yang didn't roll a specific number, then the Nevermore would attack her own units. So I think it's more of a direction thing rather than controlling. And also, yes, I did notice that Neptune used the exact same pickup line on Weiss that Jean did in Volume 1. So, what does this mean? It's not really the pickup line, it's the guy who's saying it, because Weiss is indeed interested in Neptune while she's rejecting Jean. Poor guy. But he's got Pyrrha. And RWBY. We'll have to wait and see. Alright, going back to the whole geography subject on the planet of Remnant. The continents are Vital, Mantle, Mistral? Yeah, Mistral, something along those lines. And I think Menagerie. While the kingdoms are Atlas, Vale, what was the other one? Haven! Or is Haven a school? Haven's a school. So basically, we got continents, we got kingdoms, we got schools, all getting mixed together. So, I'm going to continue to research that whole geography of the world, and I'll probably make a video on it later, so let's hope for that. Finally, to get this just totally out in the blue, during the Yellow trailer, when Yang asked Junior about the whereabouts of a girl on her pad, and it shows a picture, not Blake. It is not Blake, okay? I'm saying it right now. It's not Blake. It looks like Blake. It's not Blake. I have heard that she is an actual character who's going to come in later, whose name escapes me. The something princess, her code name is right now. That's one that's kind of floating out there. Anyway, she's not Blake. She may be coming in later. Boom. I'm leaving it there. There. I've said it. Happy. Oh, and also the question about seeing the raptor in the last episode of Volume 1. Yes, I have seen it. It is probably the best Easter egg ever. To all of you who don't know what I'm talking about, during the unveiling of RWBY, the very first RWBY episode at RTX 2 years ago, they showed off the first episode, and it was amazing, but then they also showed off the very beginning of the second episode. And during the second episode, when RWBY sneezes because of the dust and there's that explosion thing, they had not yet come up with that effect, the explosion effect. So, to hide that, when it went off, Monty just plastered a Velociraptor's face right there. And later on in the series, the last episode of Volume 1, when Penny cuts the two airships in half, if you look closely, one of the people who falls out is actually a raptor. And then there's also a video out there on YouTube where RWBY's in a band and there's a raptor. I would like to see that raptor in there more. Like, in the series as like an Easter egg, as a funny, maybe even a possible grim creature. Oh, that'd be scary. They hunted packs and they're very smart. It's like Jurassic Park all over again. Alright, on to the third episode. Now, before I start this off, I just want to say, very cool job to these guys for having a full-blown conversation in my comments section. Round of applause to you, you're awesome. Now, the whole idea of Weiss and her sister. I suggested that her sister is maybe older, but upon reflection and reading your guys' comments, Weiss would be the older sister. It'd make more sense due to the fact that she is an heiress, and she may be the one who will inherit the company one day. Now, who knows, maybe her sister is also an heiress, and she's younger or older, or who knows. But if she is younger, maybe she's sort of like, oh, what's her name? You know, Mocha's little sister from Rosario Vampire, the one who wants to kill everybody. Her, you know, scary. So maybe Weiss's younger sister is like her, where she's just kind of better, but is scary, but then, I don't... Anyway, until we find out, until we actually see Weiss's sister in the flesh, she could be older, she could be younger. I'm changing my opinion to a younger sister right now. Now, onto the subject of Penny's father. Now, it wasn't her father who told her not to speak to RWBY, or Weiss, or Yang, or Blake, or anyone. She says that it wasn't her father. But that still doesn't mean that Ironwood is not her father. So, here's some theories that I got for you. Ironwood is Penny's father. Penny was in a horrible accident and had to be made into an android to live. 2. Ironwood is Penny's father. And Penny actually died. His actual daughter, Penny, died. And then he created a replica of his daughter made in her likeness, and now she is a robot. And due to his daughter dying, maybe his daughter was wanted to be a huntress and was killed by a grim creature, and that's why he wants to take, humans out of the battlefield and put in robots, so that nobody else can feel his pain. 3. Ironwood is not Penny's father, but she refers to him as her father because he is the father figure. Kind of like in Elfen Lied with Nana and Kuriyama. But, it could be something along those lines, or maybe not. 4. Ironwood's not Penny's father, and her father is actually the scientist and or engineer that created her. Possibly based off of Geppetto? I mean, it would make a little bit of sense since Geppetto was actually the person who created Pinocchio, who Penny is based off of. So, those are some theories that I have. What you guys think? I would like to hear some feedback on that. And also, Penny says that it wasn't her father who was technically upset. So maybe it was her handler or the scientist or engineer that's in charge of her who was upset. Maybe her father's dead for all we know. So much going on. Also, one of you suggested that maybe Ironwood's operation is kind of a side project to the Schnee Dust Company. Now, I don't really believe that that's the case. For one, Ironwood is the headmaster of a school as well as a general in the military. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think the military really is owned by a company. And if it would be, then it would be more of a private army. But who knows, maybe it is. What I believe is that Ironwood and the Schnee Dust Company are partners working together to create synthetic, cybernetic armies of soldiers. And so, with the Schnee Dust Company's resources, and combined with the Ironwood's military's resources, they can, make awesome stuff. And also, that brings up the whole idea, maybe, Weiss's father is related to Penny in some way, some sort of father figure. He's a scientist, he's a corporate guy, who really knows? One of you guys really left a very intense comment. It stated that since Weiss's trailer, the white trailer, was very dreamlike, that maybe the way that Weiss got her eye scar was from when her father came home in a rage. Maybe he was drinking a little and he hit her, making the scar. Kind of puts a dark twist on things, but that is why we get into this stuff, so we can figure things out. So, is that a possibility? I'd say yeah. Most definitely, probably. I mean, I can see that happening. And while we're on the subject of Weiss's family, is it possible that the evil queen is in there as well? Maybe? I mean, due to the fact that in Snow White's story, the evil queen wasn't actually her mother, it was her stepmother, so, maybe she has a stepmother who's evil, who really knows? But I know she does have a beef with her father, and she may not like her sister. She doesn't like her family really all that much. She doesn't really like anything all that much. I feel really bad for Weiss. What is this? And last, I want to end with the whole discussion on what is the ratio with Penny, with robot and human? What is the ratio here? Is she more robot? Is she more human? Who really knows? Some of you suggested maybe she's like the Terminator. She is living organic tissue over a metal exoskeleton. Or maybe she's kind of like Android 17 and 16 from Dragon Ball Z. Maybe she's a actual robot that's so near to a human being that she has a synthetic soul. I mean, right now, until we get more information, I can't really give you guys an answer. Intense. Alrighty guys, this is gonna have to end the first feedback video for RWBY Volume 2. I hope that I at least got back to you guys on some really big things. I really tried my best with this, you know, going through all the comments and reading them and trying to figure out which ones I should really get. And once again, leave comments down below on all your theories, your comments, your ideas on things I may have missed. And just to let you guys know, I mean, it was stated in the beginning of this video, but this is being filmed before episode 4 comes out. So, before you guys blow up the comment section with, what about all this stuff that happened in episode 4? This feedback video is for episode 1 through 3. We're going to cover episodes 4 through 6 next, in the next feedback video. So, once again, be a nice person, tip your waitresses, do all that nice stuff. Episode 4 is out by now, so I have a review up on that. Check in the description. I'll see you guys next time I'm out there in YouTube land. And oh, it got really bright. The sun came out just in the nick of time. I'll see you then. Yeah!